The year is 1941, and America is on the brink of entering the largest war in human history with a military establishment that refuses to believe black men can fly combat aircraft. For 2 decades, the U.S. Army Air Corps has claimed that African Americans lack the intelligence, courage, and reflexes required for aerial warfare. But First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt isn't buying it. After taking a flight with Chief Civilian Instructor Charles Chief Anderson at the Tuskegee Institute in April 1941, she pressures her husband's administration to act. The result is Public Law 18, forcing the War Department to create an all-black flying unit, whether the brass likes it or not. They don't. The Army Air Corps chooses Tuskegee, Alabama, the heart of Jim Crow country, precisely because it's isolated, rural, and far from public scrutiny. If these men are going to fail, it'll happen quietly. Tuskegee Army Airfield opens in July 1941 with hand-me-down equipment, short runways, outdated aircraft, and makeshift facilities. A setup that looks more like sabotage than opportunity. When the first class of aviation cadets arrives, their instructors have already been told these men will wash out at triple the rate of white cadets. But leading them is Captain Benjamin O. Davis, Jr. Shuendu Ramantun. Sitintreat, Santrodatiantin, Chuti Tointreat. West Point graduate and son of the Army's first black general, who's already survived 4 years at the academy without a single white cadet speaking to him outside of official duties. Now, he faces an even greater challenge, proving that black pilots can master the most demanding combat discipline in existence. The training is deliberately brutal. White cadets at other bases get multiple chances to pass their check rides. Tuskegee cadets get one. Struggle once and you're out. Yet, against every expectation, they refuse to break. On March 7, 1942, the first class of 5 pilots, Davis, George Roberts, Mac Ross, Lemuel Custis, and Charles DeBow, earn their wings. The impossible has happened, and the Army has no choice but to continue the experiment. By mid-1943, enough pilots have graduated to form the 332nd Fighter Group, with 4 squadrons, the 99th, 100th, 301st, and 302nd. Every pilot, mechanic, and crew chief is black, making it the only completely segregated combat group in the U.S. Army Air Forces. But their equipment reveals the truth of the brass's expectations. While white groups receive the latest P-47 Thunderbolts and P-38 Lightnings, the 332nd gets cast-off P-40 Warhawks, slower, less maneuverable, and badly worn aircraft being phased out of frontline service. Still, Davis knows that every mission they fly will be judged differently. When white pilots lose bombers, it's the fog of war. When his men do, it's proof of racial inferiority. These aren't just fighter pilots. They're carrying the weight of 13 million black Americans told their entire lives that they are less than. Every takeoff is a political act. Every landing, a refutation of scientific racism. In June 1943, they deployed to North Africa. Their first missions seem uneventful, escorting bombers to Pantelleria without losses. But by June 9th, they encountered German Focke-Wulf 190s over the Mediterranean, and Lieutenant Charles Hall scores the squadron's first kill. It should be a triumph, but white commanders remain skeptical. The outdated P-40s are a death sentence in the skies of Europe, slower than the Luftwaffe's Bf-109s and outclimbed by hundreds of feet per minute. On July 2, 1943, over Sicily, a dozen Bf-109s ambush the 99th Squadron. 2 P-40s go down, Lieutenant Sherman White is killed, and James McCullen is taken prisoner. Their commander, Colonel William Momyer, files a scathing report accusing the 99th of lacking aggressive spirit and combat discipline. Time magazine echoes his words, questioning whether Negroes have the right temperament for aerial combat. What the report doesn't mention is that Momyer's own white squadrons, flying the same P-40s, are suffering equal or worse losses. But when white pilots die, it's bad luck. When black pilots die, it's racial proof. Facing disbandment, Davis personally appeals to General Ira Eaker, commander of Mediterranean Allied Air Forces. He arrives armed with statistics. The 99th has flown 500 sorties with losses equal to or better than white units flying identical planes. Eaker listens, and instead of grounding them, he expands their mission. The entire 332nd Fighter Group is sent to Italy, where they'll receive brand new aircraft. First the P-47 Thunderbolt, then by May 1944, the sleek, deadly P-51 Mustang. For the first time, the Tuskegee Airmen have the same tools as everyone else, and a mission that could make or break them. Bomber escort duty for the 15th Air Force. Colonel Davis's orders are simple, but revolutionary. Stay with the bombers. Do not chase enemy fighters. Do not break formation for personal glory. The P-51s arrive in standard olive drab, but Davis commands his men to paint their tails bright red, for identification, but also as a statement. If they succeed or fail, everyone will know exactly who they are. Their first mission under this new doctrine takes place on June 7, 1944, escorting B-17s to Munich. No losses, no drama, just disciplined flying. Word begins to spread among bomber crews about the red tails who never leave formation. At first it's just rumor, the Negro group that never loses bombers. But soon, that myth starts becoming reality. While other fighter groups chase kills and leave bombers exposed, the 332nd fights a different kind of war. One built on mathematics, discipline, and fuel calculations that must be perfect down to the gallon. They fly within 50 yards of bomber wings, so close crews can see their faces. Missions last up to 8 hours in freezing air, with no autopilot, no brakes, just constant micro-adjustments to stay in position. Their radio channels remain silent except for critical calls. No chatter, no jokes, no wasted words. The result is tactical invisibility. German interceptors can't triangulate them, and when attacks come, their response is immediate and precise. From April 1944 onward, the results speak louder than propaganda. Mission after mission, to Bucharest, Ploiești, Munich, and Vienna, the Red Tails bring every bomber home. Between June 1944 and April 1945, they escort roughly 15,000 bombers and lose none to enemy fighters. 0. The impossible statistic becomes undeniable. Their discipline turns into legend. B-17 crews start calling them the Red Tail Angels. Requests pour in. Bomber squadrons specifically ask for the 332nd by name. Their doctrine, tight escort, no chasing, confounds the Luftwaffe and humbles white fighter groups whose looser formations suffer steady losses. Even German intelligence takes notice, warning pilots that Negro airmen fly tighter formations and never abandon their bombers. By early 1945, the Red Tails are the most reliable escort unit in the 15th Air Force. Then comes March 24, 1945, the day their legend is sealed. The target. Daimler-Benz tank works in Berlin, 600 miles from Italy. Maximum range for the P-51s. 59 Red Tails escort a wave of B-17s. Over the target, they're attacked by 25 Messerschmitt Me-262 jet fighters, Germany's secret weapon. The Me-262 is 100 miles per hour faster than the Mustang, but Davis's men hold formation, forcing the jets into awkward angles. And in the swirling fight, 3 jets are shot down by Capt. Roscoe Brown, Lieutenant Earl Lane, and 2nd Lieutenant Charles Brantley. Every bomber returns home safely. Within days, the story spreads across every bomber base in Italy. The Red Tails, it said, even brought down Nazi jets. The myth and the truth blend into one. If the Red Tails are with you, you're coming home. By war's end, The 332nd Fighter Group has flown 1,578 combat missions, destroyed 112 enemy aircraft in the air, another 150 on the ground, and even sunk a destroyer with machine gun fire. They received 96 Distinguished Flying Crosses and earned the lowest bomber loss rate of any escort group in the 15th Air Force. Yet when they return home in 1945, there are no parades, no national headlines, no celebrations. They come back to segregation, to restaurants that won't serve them, and neighborhoods they can't live in. But their record speaks louder than prejudice. When segregationists claim that black soldiers underperform, civil rights leaders point to the 332nd. When military officials resist integration, they're forced to explain why the most effective escort group of the war was all black. In 1948, President Truman signs Executive Order 99981, desegregating the U.S. Armed Forces, and the Tuskegee Airmen's performance is part of the evidence that makes segregation indefensible. The Stay with the Bombers doctrine, pioneered by Colonel Davis, becomes standard Air Force policy, shaping escort tactics from Korea through the jet age. The Tuskegee Airmen proved, with mathematics and courage, that excellence has no color, that discipline, intelligence, and honor can shatter the barriers of hate. They didn't just fight a war against fascism abroad. They fought a quieter, harder war against racism at home, and they won both.